I experience this, a lot of us experience imposter syndrome and intimidation when we walk into like a networking room or we're meeting people for the first time. A lot of women face this. I know a lot of men face this. It's not a gendered experience, but it is something that is very overwhelming. And we have this habit of getting into our comfort zones, right? I have a line I use anytime I'm at a networking event that makes me feel comfortable walking into a room or a group of people I don't know, breaking into the conversation. But I don't see Allie do that. And I don't see I think the strongest networkers, the strongest builders, the strongest community people, community organizers, they don't default to this mode of, here's where I feel safe and comfortable. They're actively listening and they're willing to ask about the person. They're willing to ask something that maybe doesn't have a whole bunch to do with the topic at hand or the event that you're at. It's not, well, what do you do? It's, tell me about your journey. What was the moment that led you to do what you're doing? It's being willing to get a little outside of that box. And Allie is a profoundly curious person. And I think that taking curiosity, that's a core value of the Jane Project. We refer to our Jane members as venture curious, right? So embracing curiosity and being willing to speak up when you're curious about something, I actually think is the core philosophy at play here.
I love that concept. And you were just referring to networking as something that, as an environment that it feels almost forced. And it's interesting because we're podcasting right now, but I was just listening a few days ago, another podcast, and the conversation was all about like actually networking. How do you build a strong networking? And I think the guest, I don't remember her name, but she was saying a lot of the success on a networking settings comes from the fact that you're not actively thinking that you're doing that to sell. You're genuinely curious about what other people are doing. You're really trying to create like that connection. And then she also said, and that's why social media feels now like the same way that it feels, because it doesn't longer kind of like fit that, same emotion that we used to feel when, I don't know, when maybe Facebook was, the beginning of it, or like when Instagram was the beginning of it, that it felt like a real connection. Nowadays, it almost feels like, well, you go to a networking event, you get to know someone, and you left that person, and you're almost 100% sure you will get a message, getting pitched an idea. And that right there creates a disconnection, because I feel like no one wants to sell the idea of anything. Like, I feel like we're so overwhelmed with information, with ads, with like so much going on, that we're like, I don't need another message. We're at a point where we're seeing networking like that. And then you are mentioning networking as something as really getting that curiosity actively awaken, and like saying, okay, I'm not doing this because I'm trying to get something out of it. I'm doing this because I need this. I need this connection. I need to get to know other people. How do you think, in people that is attending to the events from the Janet group, how do you think they're feeling about that? Do you guys ever talk about that?